Imagine a world where death wasn't just an end. It was a spectacle so savage, it horrified even its creators. Welcome to ancient Rome's arenas, where brutality reached unthinkable heights, turning human suffering into a twisted form of entertainment. This is the untold story of the most gruesome arena acts that went too far, even for an empire built on blood. Hit subscribe now to join us as we plunge into history's darkest depths and uncover secrets that still haunt us today. A nightmare began with a calculated precision that chilled the soul. When the Romans conquered, the battlefield didn't fade into silence. It erupted into a system of chains and despair. Warriors fell under the sword, but their wives faced a fate worse than death. These women weren't mere captives. They were stripped of their humanity, transformed into goods in a chillingly organized trade. This wasn't wild looting. It was a legal machine etched into the empire's core, designed to break spirits and assert dominance. Known under Roman law as part of the spoils of war, these women were cataloged with ruthless efficiency from the moment a city fell. The process was immediate and dehumanizing. Roman officers stormed into defeated towns, sorting people with the cold precision of merchants at a market. Men were slain or enslaved, children torn apart, but the wives of fallen leaders endured a degrading ritual. Roman physicians and overseers inspected them like livestock, examining teeth, probing bodies, assessing fertility. Their worth hinged on youth, beauty, and health. The most striking were destined for Rome's elite circles, while the older or less appealing were relegated to grueling labor or forgotten in obscurity. A once noble woman, stripped of dignity, was prodded in public streets, her value barked out like a price tag, a calculated industry of shame. The ordeal intensified on the journey. Long lines of chained women were marched for weeks, many collapsing from hunger or exhaustion, left to perish on dusty roads. Others were stuffed into carts like cargo, their bodies battered by the ride. Surviving the trek was a grim victory, but the slave markets awaiting them were a new hell. These weren't hidden dens of chaos. They were state-regulated hubs, taxed and monitored in cities like Rome and Capua. Women stood in rows, subjected to buyers' hands and scrutiny, tested for skills like sewing or cooking. Failure meant lashes or a slashed price. Forced to smile under threat, they performed obedience, their dignity shattered. Scribes recorded every detail, names, origins, values, in ledgers that filled Roman archives with tales of misery. The most beautiful faced the darkest destiny. The imperial harems shatter the myths of silk and romance. These were gilded prisons. Inside grand palaces like the Domus Augustana, thousands of women from conquered lands were confined, battling for survival under the watch of stern guards. Their languages, faiths, and names were erased. A woman from Gaul or Judea might awaken renamed, forced to speak Latin, compelled to adopt Roman rituals. Resistance brought starvation, whips, or solitary confinement in dark cells. The harem wasn't just exploitation. It was a war on identity, where women clawed for favor to escape abuse, while many slipped into madness, or ended their lives in despair. It was a graveyard of the self. For wives of high-ranking men, the torment cut deeper. Often they served the very commanders who raised their homes, their degradation a deliberate message. No one, not even nobility, could defy Rome. Resistance ended in public humiliation. This cruelty was systematic. Every inspection, every sale, every renaming documented by imperial scribes. These women became numbers in a ledger, proof of Rome's power inscribed in ink. But the empire didn't stop there. Their wombs became tools of conquest. Children born to enslaved mothers belonged to their masters, raised as property, torn from mothers who knew the empire could claim them any time. Religion twisted into a weapon of control. Christian or pagan women were dragged into forced conversions, ceremonies of domination, not faith. Refusal meant torture. Acceptance severed them from their past, making escape futile. Their communities wouldn't reclaim them. This ensured conquest's permanence, stretching across generations as their bodies and children fueled Rome's might. Yet, the empire craved more than private suffering. It turned public humiliation into a warning. Women were paraded, beaten, and displayed. Their agony a lesson, etched into conquered people's memories. When cities resisted, the cruelty escalated. Wives of defiant leaders faced public branding with hot irons, their skin marked to erase pride. Noble women were forced to scrub barracks or serve wine to their husbands' killers, their status mocked. Some were caged and hung from gates, left to starve as a slow spectacle. Mothers watched infants executed, their lineage severed, to crush resistance. Officers wielded psychological torment, forcing mothers to choose a child's fate or endure family executions, prolonging agony for effect. All was recorded, every act a testament to Rome's might. Some women became tools of subjugation, sent back to their cities as puppets to enforce obedience. Others faced starvation games or gladiatorial fights for soldiers' amusement. Refusal to convert brought beatings in temples, their broken voices proof of submission. The ultimate punishment was silence. Women vanished into secret chambers, neither living nor dying, erased from memory. Communities bore scars, villages emptied of women, survivors haunted by trauma, rejected by kin. Fear spread faster than armies, toppling cities before blades struck. Historians once glorified Rome's victories, but archives reveal ledgers of suffering, names lost, lives reduced to numbers. This wasn't chaos, it was a legalized machine, celebrated as order. Its influence spread, shaping empires beyond Rome. The erased women, silenced, unrecorded, leave a question. What horrors remain buried? Their story echoes, not in triumph, but in the completeness of their erasure. Share below which horror strikes you most. The cold doesn't speak, it whispers. and subscribe for our next dive into history's shadows. Their silence still whispers through time.